Welcome to the Brain Alpha. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this explainer today. We're going to tackle something that pretty much all of us struggle with, and we're going to fix it by moving from passive reading to actionable, real-life impact. If you've ever spent hours reading a fantastic book, only to realize a week later you can barely remember a single specific detail, yeah, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to explore a proven analog retention system that will completely rewire how you consume and store knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the reading dilemma, explore Ryan's three-step system, break down Step 1, strategic highlighting, Step 2, actionable notes, Step 3, categorize and store, and finally, reveal 3 life-changing results. All right, Section 1, the reading dilemma and the forgetting curve. It's time to talk about that universal frustration so many of us hit when we actually try to learn from books.
What if you could remember everything you read? Seriously, imagine being able to pull facts, quotes, and strategies right out of your brain exactly when you need them. Almost like pulling a file straight from a drawer. Sounds like a superpower, right? Well, the reality for most of us is very different. Take someone highly successful like documentary filmmaker Matt Davella. Despite his massive success, he openly admitted to struggling deeply with this. He'd read these incredible books filled with great ideas, and then, poof, he'd forget the insights the very next day. It's a remarkably common problem. We invest all this time, but the knowledge just slips right through our fingers.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast between our toxic reading habits and the highly effective method we should be using. The old way, it's all about ego, really. It's speed reading, trying to devour a massive volume of books just so we can say we read them, which ultimately leads to forgetting basically everything. But the new way, and this is the focus of our explainer today, is about reading slowly. It's reading specifically for application, so you actually retain those insights that can alter the trajectory of your life.
So, how do we transition to that new way? Let's move to Section 2, the 3-step system, Ryan Holiday's method. Enter the hero of our solution, best-selling author and media strategist Ryan Holiday.
Ryan is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to knowledge retention. When Matt Davella interviewed him, Matt was completely shocked. During this totally unscripted conversation, Ryan was flawlessly pulling out highly specific book references, historical examples, and deep insights completely from memory. He wasn't relying on a digital database in that moment. His mind was just a steel trap. And the secret behind this seemingly superhuman ability? It's actually a very deliberate, powerful analog system.
The solution relies on a deceptively simple framework: highlight, note, and categorize. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds basic, right? Like something you did back in middle school. But the key difference lies in exactly why and how it's done. You see, these 3 steps align perfectly with how the human brain naturally processes and stores long-term memory. Your brain automatically filters out useless information over time, but it holds on to things that are used frequently, recently, or have high personal relevance. The system intentionally tricks your brain into realizing, hey, this information is highly relevant and important. We need to keep this.
Let's break down exactly how to do this in Section 3. Step 1, strategic highlighting, where we filter for application. This is the very first action you must take the next time you open a new book.
There's a massive paradigm shift you need to adopt right off the bat. Highlight what you can use, not what the author thinks is important. When you read a business book, you're going to see a lot of bolded text. Honestly, ignore it if it doesn't directly apply to your life. You need to aggressively target actionable lines. Sometimes, the most valuable phrase for your specific situation is buried in a normal paragraph or even right there in the preface. Read with this constant filter. How can I actually apply this? If it passes that test, highlight it.
Now let's move to Section 4. Step 2, actionable notes. This is where we bring the physical, analog world into play, using the index card protocol. And this brilliantly illustrates the mandatory structure you need to follow. For every major highlighted point, grab a small physical index card. You need 3 specific things on it. First, a title at the top so you know what it is at a glance. Second, a short summary of the information you just highlighted. And third, guys, this is the most critical part: an action plan. You must write down exactly how you are going to use this idea in your own life.
I have a massive warning for you here. Ugly is better. Seriously, do not waste time trying to make your index cards look aesthetically pleasing or perfectly worded. When we try to write beautiful notes, we often slip into useless, abstract corporate speak. It starts sounding like a vague company philosophy, like build trust with customers, which means absolutely nothing when you read it back 3 months later.
Instead, capture your raw, concrete, messy thoughts as fast as possible. You are writing this for your own brain, nobody else.
Now for the final phase. Section 5, Step 3. Categorize and store to build the memory web. This is the crucial missing link. This is the secret sauce that traditional schools completely failed to teach us.
The logic here is just fascinating. Your brain craves connections. If you just learn an isolated fact, it vanishes. Think about meeting a stranger. If you only hear their name, you'll probably forget it in 10 seconds. But if you learn their name, their age, their hobbies, and maybe a funny story about them, you remember them perfectly because the data now has hooks. By physically taking your index cards and sorting them into categories in a storage box, you're giving your brain the contextual anchors it needs to retrieve that information later. You're building an unbreakable web of memory.
If you're wondering where to begin, here is a reliable, simple starting point for organizing your very first batch of note cards. Start with broad buckets: work, relationships, money, and habits. Almost every nonfiction book you read will easily map into one of these 4 areas. Then, as your box of cards grows, you can naturally expand and create new, hyper-specific categories that fit your unique interests. Maybe things like YouTube ideas or philosophy, but start simple. So, you've got the system. What happens next? Section 6, 3 life-changing results. Let's shift our focus to the massive mindset and lifestyle transformations that actually occur once you fully adopt this method.
The first major shift is perfectly captured by this analogy. Reading a book is like eating at a luxury restaurant. Take your time to enjoy the meal. Think about it. Why would you go to a Michelin star restaurant and inhale your food in 3 minutes? It completely defeats the purpose. Slowing down and treating reading as an immersive, deliberate experience where you are extracting maximum value is vastly superior to just rushing through chapters to check a box.
Because you're slowing down to highlight and write physical notes, I do have to warn you, reading a book will now take you 1.5 to 2 times longer. If you used to finish a book in a month, it might take you 2 months now. But I assure you, the profound increase in value makes it absolutely worthwhile. A person who reads 1 book and implements everything will always outpace a person who reads 10 books and implements nothing.
The second result is a brilliant side effect. You shift from wasting time to cutting losses. Because taking notes requires real effort, you will naturally stop tolerating bad books. In the past, you might have forced yourself to finish a terrible, boring book out of guilt. Now, if a book isn't giving you actionable insights worth putting on an index card, you will drop it instantly. You'll start fiercely protecting your valuable time, ensuring you only consume truly life-changing material.
And the third and most powerful result is a harsh truth. Knowledge without action is useless. So the crucial point is that the action plan on your index card forces you to bridge the gap between passively remembering something and actually changing your reality. When you write down, "I am going to use this negotiation tactic in my meeting on Tuesday," you are no longer just a reader. You are an active participant in your own growth. That is how reading actually changes your life.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. Which book will you try this system on first? Grab some index cards, pick a great book, and start building your own ultimate retention system. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.